So we'll come to order at 5:01. Let's introduce ourselves.
Scott Morley, Select Board.
Carrie Keeman, Select Board.
Matt Maxwell, Town Administrator.
Phil Marquette, Emergency Management Director. Issue Steve, Planning Commission.
Chris Wright, Coventry resident.
And we have Deb Taneway, the Town Clerk. Any changes to the agenda tonight? Or additions? How about a public comment? 2 for 2. All right, first up is the personnel policy. And you've got the one that, this is a big one, so there, I gave you a copy of it where all the changes are made. And then there's a clean one there, if you decide,
Oh, yeah.
if you like it.
So I didn't
You
see
can
them.
approve it. If you decide you don't like it, it should be in the file, clean.
Oh, yeah, but this one,
Yeah.
yeah, I printed in black and white. That's probably why I didn't realize it was the corrected.
Yeah, so I printed you out one with,
Yep.
so you can see the changes were made, and if you don't like something, then it
Mhm.
does, we can just, I can change it and we can bring it back to the next meeting. We had a chance to sort of get these policies in at this
Mhm.
meeting, and if everybody's happy with what they say, we can.
Is it basically the rolling over the accrual of the 60 hours?
Yep, and the wage scale is slightly adjusted because we gave some raises.
Mhm.
So that
Bless you.
bumped up the wage scale a little bit. Everything else, I mean, Scott did a lot of work on that policy.
So
And we changed up some of the holidays, so we got rid of, we were given a half a day on Christmas Eve, that's gone. Christmas Eve's now a work day, and then we've added in all the state holidays that we were missing a couple of those.
Mhm.
we essentially follow the state.
Yeah.
So this has been basically phased in because there were so many issues and, so we've been at this for a long time, 9 months maybe. So we just started peeling out the bigger issues that folks were most interested in, and we voted on most of it already.
Yeah,
Mhm.
most of it's already been.
The reason it hasn't been totally finished is just exactly what Matt said. There was a comp time issue that kind of went back and forth. It's now resolved as far as I'm concerned. Did we talk about that once already in the meeting?
Yeah.
Comp time,
The
so,
Well, accruing up to 60
did,
hours
yeah.
for,
so Matt
Yeah.
added that in, and the road, no, that's the next one. What was the other issue that you
The
did?
wage scale's been
The
adjusted.
wage scale, and that was the decision that we made when we were in executive session.
Yeah.
At the end of this one.
Mhm.
So I would say at this point, it's good that we get this done.
Mhm.
And can get it adopted, and then, it's an annual review.
Mhm.
And so whenever we choose this next time to look at all of our policies, seems like every time we find typos or we find, something changes. A lot of them are kind of living documents, so. I appreciate it, Matt, it's been plaguing me for a while, and it's good to get it done. I think it's very good. I have no issues with it. It's presented.
The one that you're having, email has an extra bullet under the holidays.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that got taken out in the clean version.
So now, like the road crew working 10-hour days, will they get 10 hours paid? Must be, like 4th of July? Did we talk about that?
Yeah. we
The
did.
town will observe the following holidays. Applicable full-time staff shall receive regular pay and the day off without loss of leave.
Store traffic stands 40 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, Bennington Battle Day.
I know. I always forget that one too.
Mhm.
That's the only one we have, but the students don't have off.
Really?
Yeah.
They have to go that day?
No kidding.
That's the central office, the support staff, and central office.
Huh.
Well, if you guys are good with it, I'm good.
All right,
Make a motion to accept the personnel policy as presented with the changes. As
Aye.
presented.
I second that motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, there's a clean one there for you to sign.
There is it here.
They didn't sign it in this year.
You have an extra copy?
No,
We can get you one.
we can get you one.
If you want.
You want one as a town resident?
Yes, yeah, exactly, that's how I'm here, as a town resident.
What are you doing?
Thank you much.
Personnel policy. Mhm.
So next up is the purchasing policy. That's there in the middle of the table. That file, not in your individual.
Oh, okay.
files, That one. There's only one of those, it's a smaller one. I didn't do the track changes, but I took out the paragraph, which gave the road commissioner authorization to make purchases without your authority, so that's gone. And everything's uniform to the $10,000 that you had approved at a previous meeting.
Yep.
Well, it allowed the road commissioner to buy anything he wanted
Basically,
without limits.
correct.
And we've said that's not an appropriate
No.
decision, and I think we all made that decision not too long
Yeah.
ago. So it matches now the purchasing policy of the $10,000 limit.
Yep.
A road foreman.
Yep.
And you
And me,
can go buy what you need to do your jobs and in alignment with everything that we do up to there.
Yep.
And then if it's over that, we ought to be
Mhm.
looking at it, thinking about it. Do we want to put things to bid? Or whatever it is.
Yep.
Seems like a reasonable number.
Mhm.
The price of everything today.
Keeps going up.
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I make a motion to accept the purchasing and reimbursement policy as presented.
Okay, I second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Matt, for getting that done.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have the dog ordinance. That's on in the middle there for you.
So,
I spoke to Brian and he has given his approval to move forward with the dog ordinance. He likes all of the incorporated all of his changes. He's happy. And he's giving you guys his,
thumbs
you
up.
know, the thumbs up to okay it.
So excellent job, Carrie and
Deb and Renee,
Yeah.
Deb and Renee. Are they both with us?
they did the
I
work.
am.
Did the work.
Yeah, thank you very much, Deb. It's always tedious work, but it's important work.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You've satisfied Brian, so that's nice. So, in 5 minutes or less, let's just talk about it for a second here. So what's the process now?
So the next step would be you, as the select board, notifying the public of your intention to make an amendment to the town dog ordinance. Which means I'm gonna put a notice in the Newport Daily Express saying that the select board has made changes to the dog ordinance. And then I'm gonna say that they can go look and read those changes at the post office, this building, Royers, and our website. So I'm gonna post that document plus the old ordinance. And I have to do that within 14 days of if you approve it, I have to do it within 14 days of your approval tonight. And then they have 44 days to petition the select board if they don't like the changes you've made. In which case you have to hold a special town meeting so they can vote.
And that notice is going to those places too, right? Along with your copies.
I didn't hear what you said.
The notice that you're putting out is to go with the copies too. which I assume you would do it.
What notice?
Your notice of the same thing, in the paper.
Oh, yeah, that's just, it'll just be telling.
That'll be in the same place.
Yeah.
Cause you still gotta do your 3.
So if folks don't agree with us,
Mhm,
that's fine. That's
right.
their right to be able to do that. What's the process for them to do that? There has to be a certain number of signatures.
Mm,
It's a percentage, if I remember. Deb, do you know that answer?
It should be like a 5%. They would have to go ahead and file a petition. And then it'd be a 5% of registered active voters.
What is there, 800 and
That's
something?
my memory.
806, but that's total voters. Then I think we have like, say, 50 that are currently actively being challenged. So you're looking at about 750-ish voters.
Okay, so we can look at the devil of that detail later if it's even an issue. I just want to talk about it so everybody
Mhm.
kind of knows the process. Deb, same thing, if it's possible, I know it's here, but just to say it out loud, what are the biggies? What's the big changes that people can expect?
Big changes is going to be as far as increased fines, because we have a lot of people who are being non-compliant. Whether they're just not coming in to register or whether we're sending Renee after them multiple times. They're not registering. So really the biggie is the fines. The next biggie is that you folks have the authority now as far as to go and designate some actions of what may be happening with the dogs when people do not comply with our dog ordinance. Changing it so that it's town-wide and not just village-wide is a very big aspect. Other than that, everything else basically stays the same. I think it just put a little bit more into contents as far as once a dog has been obtained by Renee, what is the time frame that the people can come to try and claim that dog? And if they haven't claimed the dog by those number of days, then what is the town's options that we can then do with the dog?
Okay,
But the two biggest would be the town ordinance instead of village, and the increased fees to hopefully try to squash down the amount of unregistered dogs we have right now.
good, thanks. Another thing that we talked about before, and we've got some time before this would get kicked in, is just, we talk about, you know, how we want to do it, right? We want to be very, very, very consistent. We want to, just like, I think we likened it to our delinquent tax roll, right? We want to say there's dates, there's dates that folks have to have those licenses to you as the town clerk, and then if those are not, and they become delinquent, then there's an action that takes place. Right?
Correct.
Right across the board for everybody. Everybody gets the same notice, the same timelines. And then
Correct.
there's a step series of interventions that we go through in it. Because we really don't want to treat anybody different, and we don't want to hear that we're treating anybody different. So if folks do come along and ask us those questions, we can go through those steps.
Yep. And one other piece that we are thinking about enacting, only because Renee does so many towns, and lately she has been inundated up to her ears in all of these abandoned dogs and dogs that are loose. With Izzy being a town constable, we have the first initial notices that's being printed up by Metro Magog Press, which is basically stating, hey, we notice you have a dog, whether it's not licensed or it's been reported this or that. Izzy, we've checked with Izzy. He has agreed to go to those residents with that first initial notice, which is a triplicate copy, so that the town has a copy, they have a copy, and then another copy will end up, we can send to Judicial Bureau if we want, but at least now there's going to be triplicate copies. And I think the first attempt, get into the people may happen sooner and on a more regular basis. Having Izzy do it than Renee, just because she's inundated. We're hoping with that first initial visit from Izzy that they're just going to end up coming in and register their dogs. If not, then that's when it'll be handed over to Renee, and then she'll start doing the actual penalties and whatnot if that needs to come to that route.
Okay, so that particular part using,
That triplicate is the first initial warning to dog owners, which is on one of those pages.
it is in here?
Yep, absolutely.
So that, the process by which we take that using the town constable, that's not in. The person that does the delivery piece.
The person who's doing delivery, no, it just states that the town needs to notify the dog owners or whatnot, has to give them their first initial warning.
Right.
So that would be the town giving them their first initial warning.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
I think more consistency, I think will make it a lot easier.
so I'm not gonna disagree with that, I guess. You guys have talked about it, and I mean, it's potentially, how many people are you potentially talking about in April? They get that.
Actually, I'm thinking right now, there's gonna be some people who get that. Approximately right now, we probably have 80 unregistered dogs.
80,
That's a lot, 80, 80.
you understand that?
That is a lot.
Is there an anticipatory compensation for that action for Mr. Sando?
That will probably be something that the select board may have to discuss. Prior years, I mean, normally when they are elected as town constable, town constables have never been given a stipend. However, in prior years, I don't really think the town constable has really been used for what their position is. Just because now there are so many dogs that are abandoned, the owners just let them run loose, they're causing havoc. All the animal control officers out there are just busy trying to get a handle on all of these animals that Renee can't do everything between her full-time job and then maintain like 5 to 6 different towns as being their ACO on top of that. My take is we have these people who are in these elected positions. They're able to do some of these requests under their positions. We might as well utilize them in these positions. If we're going to start utilizing him, the select board can absolutely go ahead and decide, you know what, we are going to go ahead and pay him a stipend. We pay Renee a stipend. But again, I'll leave that up to you folks.
Okay. All right. You know it inside and out, so you're comfortable. Brian's comfortable, Matt's comfortable, so that means I am.
Okay, I make a
Thank
motion.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I make a motion to accept the town of Coventry ordinance regulating the keeping of dogs and wolf hybrids within the town of Coventry as presented.
I second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good.
Where can I get a copy of that? Which here?
Put that in Dan's signature file.
Huh? Where's it gonna be available?
It'll be available this week.
Keep on it, he's not 14 days.
Said
Said if he's not 14 days,
You
you
got
gotta keep on
14
it.
days now, it won't take that long. And I can send you an electronic copy tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, fine.
I like that it's the full town now. Cause I know we had issues with that right there.
Okay, so these next two items, the town garage and the road crew equipment came from the road foreman Nathan Standish. Just discussion things, you're not making decisions. I will say that Nathan is doing an excellent job on the administrative side of his position. He comes in routinely, looks at his budget, You know, he wants, I shall bring it up on Nemrick, I show him what he spent, what he's got left, and he's on top of things, so these both came from him. Nothing you have to make a decision about, like, he was at town meeting last year, and the garage addition came up, and they wanted us to come back with it, so. There you go.
Time to start working on it.
Yep.
So Matt and I talked about that a couple of times. It's time. So we've just had a lot of work to do. We've done a lot of things, and this was one of those town meeting. It was a discussion we were having as a board way back a year ago. And there was a lot of discussion that board had around garages, and there was mixed thoughts on it essentially with the board. And
Hey there.
so
Yeah.
that was one of the items that we decided as a group, let's put it to the voters, and if the voters wanna think about, you know, putting money into that, then let's get some input from them. So we did, they didn't, the decision they made was, we hadn't done a very good job giving them the information they needed, which is true, in order for them to make a decision, and so it was a non-decision, actually. And so,
Mr. Garage,
Garage, yeah.
so we're back at that discussion. So, you talked with Nathan, and he's thinking an addition that serves the purpose of holding another plow truck.
Correct.
So another bay, not like a huge addition.
Right. That's my understanding
That's
Of what
that's
he's-
my understanding of talking to him.
of what he's thinking about, and that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yes.
It's sort of in the middle
Yeah.
of the conversation we were having last year, which was you build a sprawling double-side building that we have now with quarters and
Right.
who knows what, like other towns are doing that, but I didn't think it was necessary, and your current foreman doesn't. I don't know what you guys think, but
yeah,
um,
that sounds like a lot better idea.
yeah, the primary focus is to get our expensive machinery inside. Under roofs, so they can maintain it, keep track of things. And, you know, we still use this building down here as cold storage for grader and a lot of other materials, so we don't need, you know, a lot. So I know the building sort of inside and out. I don't know if you guys do. You should go up if you haven't.
Yeah, I wanna.
You've got keys, go in, look around, take a peek, see what you're thinking. I think he must be talking about going up the left side,
Your only option is the left side.
off the side with the mechanicals on
So as you're staring at it.
the
on the
left.
Mhm.
Yep. Just to the left of the door that you'll enter. And it would just keep the same roof line.
Now, this one over here, are we keeping heat in it? Well, not right now, obviously, but you say cold storage.
I don't think we heated it last year, did we? That would know.
Deb, did we pay for oil over there?
Heating.
We
oil.
absolutely do.
We
Both
heat-
garages,
Oh, because we had the bathroom still.
yes.
Yeah, you're heating
They
the
both have running water.
not the main garage, not the main floor, but the bathroom.
Right,
Yeah.
Bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's minor. So we don't have sizes here,
Nope.
and we don't have an amount of money. This is essentially, once again, just us trying to put together a package that meets the needs of our equipment that we could then put back in front of the voters
Correct.
in April or March.
March.
In March, to see, you know, in a more professionalized version, you know, potentially a blueprint and
That's what
a
they,
cost.
I believe that's what they would like to see.
Yeah.
So,
So if we put this out, get a bid, get a blueprint, or I don't know anything about it. So do you figure out kind of the size you want and then you put it out to bid. Let's say, you know, then they come up with, or we come up with a blueprint and they say, okay, for this blueprint, it's gonna cost, you know, $1.5 million or. I don't know how it works.
We can just show them what we're thinking, what the road crew is thinking and,
Mhm,
you know, with details
mhm.
rather than just a building.
So why don't we task town administrator and the road foreman to take that first step for us, Matt, and reach out and find an engineer. An inexpensive one. To give us that rough blueprint.
Could just a carpenter do it? Or do we need an engineer?
Well, it doesn't have to be an engineer, that's overkill, but some of the contractors here can do that.
Yeah, and they'll, you know, once the building season winds down, they'll have time to do that, and we'll be able to get something.
So let's do it in steps, knowing that we gotta get it all done for March, well, for your book. January.
Yeah, January.
So you gotta get it done by calendar end.
Right, by the time we decide what.
So you would need to go get, the trouble with having a contract to do that blueprint is, then, you know, you're using his blueprint for other carpenters.
Yeah.
So it's
I get you.
usually best in the municipal world, right, to get a set of prints, of what you want, independently of the people doing the work.
Yeah.
And then put it out. So, why don't we task you to do the first phase of that, which is, you know, get us something on paper, you and Nathan, that makes sense, it's the width and length that he wants.
Yep.
And, or thinks we need, and then give us that, then we look at it, we approve, when we would approve that or amend it. And then bid it
The
out,
next step. Yep.
and then you'd be prepared.
Yeah.
Professionally.
Is there a blueprint to what's there now with measurements on it?
Must be. Nathan would probably look around up there and those
What year
filing
was
cabinets.
that one built up there?
It's been 90s. 25 years.
Where's the garage?
I'm guessing.
Route 14. Yeah, right across from.
Is that where the big snow plow always is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The side of the road?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. Lou,
Thank
okay,
you.
next up is road crew equipment, and you've got a printout there of. So again, this from the road foreman, Nathan, doesn't want he wants to get rid of the stuff before it's worth virtually nothing, so his next two are the ton truck and the loader, and of the two, the ton trucks in the worst shape, the loader he can get through for some more seasons if he had to, but he's thinking he might want to build in a purchase of a new ton truck into the budget for this coming year for approval at town meeting.
What's the ton, the
That's
Ford or the
600.
International?
Must be the 600.
The 600, yeah.
What is that for?
They plow with it and they.
He's got the wing on there.
It's got a wing on there and they do miscellaneous stuff with it in the summer and fall. I mean, I think they do chloride with it.
Yeah, were we working on changing, replacing that?
We were, but we didn't,
Okay.
yeah.
So give me the spiel again. So this is a list of major equipment
Yep.
and their age. This is all of what we got
Yeah.
and their age, their new cost. And so the conversation is one that we've been trying to have for a while, which is, you know, how do we get into a rotation? look so that we're buying a piece of equipment each year and not waiting and buying 3 dump trucks the same year, which is what we just experienced, right?
Mhm.
Everything got bought at the same time back years ago, and then they all age out at the same time. So we're looking at a more common sense solution to doing that, and then looking at the really big ones, which is your heavy equipment. And how we should best utilize that. What's an appropriate age for a loader with the recommended or the average hours that this town puts on it? You know, how long does it last, and what's the best time frame for that trade?
So you get something out of the trade.
So you can get something out of it and you're not having breakdown, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So looking at all those pieces of equipment, thinking about, that's major money, and we are fortunate in that we write checks for these things. We shouldn't be writing $1 million checks all the time. We should be, phasing that in. Same question around, same discussion around going to your residents each March and saying, here's an additional, it doesn't go into your budget, right, into your regular operating budget. It's sort of a standalone so that they can have a conversation about that.
Mhm.
And not be using these special funds that we've been doing, and nobody gets an opportunity to say,
We should buy it.
we don't think you need this much stuff. So with that all said, Matt, so Nathan's thinking that vehicle number 9, and that gets a lot of salt, and
It gets a lot of use, that vehicle.
so that's pretty much, yeah, so it's probably bought in 20, so it's almost working on 4 or 5 years old. And what was the other one? The loader?
The loader would be the next one.
Which is, must be the wheel loader, the 14, number
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cause right now too, have we even got the new truck? We haven't got the new truck.
No, that's why this is.
It's gonna start, you gotta start the process. It's gonna be 2 years.
That's why that's why the addition thing came up, because we want the addition done by the time that
Mhm.
truck is here.
Put it, mhm.
Wasn't David with us?
Yep.
We have a depreciation schedule on these.
Probably do.
We used to. However, under cash accounting, there's no such thing as depreciation under cash accounting. You carry them at what you paid for them until you sell them. When you sell them, then you have a new value.
So we could create that ourselves somehow,
It exists. It just hasn't been updated.
Right, that's sort of kind of like what you gotta look at, that's what we're talking about, right? It's like how you depreciate that stuff out, especially when you're talking about a loader that's, $120,000 back in 2014, so what's it now?
No,
250,
yeah.
so.
I'll give you 200 for it.
Yeah, so it's like, how do you depreciate that? You have to look at a lot of stuff. Somebody with that skill set has to look at the mileage and the hours, the engine hours and the general condition, right?
Yeah.
And make some sort of mechanically inclined best
Yeah.
assessment of its current value.
Yep.
Is it a good time to trade? Is it not a good time to trade it? I mean, us sitting here, we're probably not the best people to make that decision or recommend to us.
And I think that's what Nathan's trying to do. He just doesn't have the numbers to do it. He's just basing it off hours.
David,
What he sees when he uses it.
Is there sort of an uncomplicated way for you and those 2 guys to sit down and have that conversation, and you help them with that? Is that a bigger deal than I'm thinking?
Well, I can tell you the way that it was done for previous audits and by the previous auditor was under accrual-based accounting, was just straight line depreciation and equipment like trucks and highway stuff. I think he had as a 5-year depreciation. So it would start off full value, what you paid for it, and 5 years later, it would be zero. Now, is that realistic? It's not, but
Right.
you can adjust it, but if you want to really know the market value for something, you have to do the research.
Yeah,
Wonder if they called like, I don't know what they're called anymore, Southworth, Milton, the Caterpillar dealer. And say, you know, we've got this with this many hours.
Yeah.
I have no idea. They can, I know they can't give you a number.
Right.
It's like a car dealer, Kelly Blue Book or something,
Yeah, right.
you know. It's in fair condition with however many hours and it's this year and this make and model. Might be able to do something like that too.
so let's put the loader off to the side for now. Let's talk about that truck. So we have currently, we have 2 dump trucks,
Big ones, yeah.
2 large
Yeah.
dump trucks,
Plow trucks, yeah.
that plow.
Yeah.
And we have 1 on order.
We have one on order.
The 1 on order was back ordered, so that one's gonna be delivered sometime in 2025.
Correct.
And so when we do that, we're gonna keep the 3rd. We're not trading one, so we're gonna kind of have a spare.
Right.
So that was the thinking around that, which is probably a good idea. And at the same time, if I remember, Nathan was talking about having that one, you could, instead of taking your F-550s and rotting them out, which is what's happening with the salt and the chloride, putting that in that 3rd older one, sort of phase it out that way. So you get a few more years out of the truck that you're not really gonna get anything for anyway.
Yeah.
And then the next ton trucks that you're buying, you can not run into that as quick.
Right.
That's
Yeah, he wants to extend the life on those.
And so your new equipment, as far as trucks go, would be, you'd always be taking that oldest one and doing that with it.
Yeah.
For those last 3-4 years, it's like you would,
Okay.
until you finally can put it. So I think it's almost safe to say right now, as far as trucks go, that we would probably be asking this year for the 550 replacement. Is that kind of what you guys are thinking
Yes.
at town meeting?
Yeah.
So the major purchase this year would probably be to replace that, trade that one in,
Get a new
knowing we already got a new
big one.
one coming that we haven't paid for yet.
Nope.
But it was approved last year.
Yep.
So just the way it works, we'll be still purchasing 2
We're still on the
in
hook.
2025.
And I mean, what is Nathan, is that truck, I mean, it must be worth something to,
It is now,
Yeah.
but it's getting to the point where if we don't do something within the next 6 or 8 months, it's not gonna be worth anything.
Yeah.
That's why he's bringing it to us now, because he wants an article at town meeting to say, hey, can we buy any one of these?
yeah.
And a 1-ton truck is more readily available than
Right.
a backward
And,
dump
and,
truck.
and we have been putting a lot more money in maintenance into that ton truck in the last year than we have previously, so he's right, I mean, it's weird now.
Do you wanna make that decision now, or do you wanna sit on it?
No, you don't have to make it right now, this is just,
Okay,
Nathan wanted these things brought to your attention. I think it's good that we, go home and think about it.
that is good.
So maybe,
I'll put it back on, once we get a little bit closer to budget season, and if you guys decide that that's something we wanna put
Well,
in.
you'll have to go get some prices
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, some pricing and all that stuff this winter. Or well, you'll have to.
We're gonna be starting right off, I mean, once I tell him what you say, Nathan will take care of all that.
what this one's worth and what a new one costs.
Yeah, like I said, he's very good at the administrative side of things, so I'm, he'll do most of this work.
I think I kind of got there in my mind just barely, unless new information comes, like that's where I would be at.
Yep.
Knowing that we have both of those expenses in 2025 now.
Yeah.
We have that truck on that we've ordered. That not paid for. And then we're gonna have that and then leave that major equipment off, and it gives us a little more time to do this, take this the next step.
Yep.
And professionalize this a little bit more so we can look at the depreciation stuff. We could probably find somebody who has that skill.
Yep.
So I guess that's a task
Yep,
with Nathan.
yep, we'll work on it.
Go look at trading that. Not trading it, but getting the pricing on it. It'll be gone next week.
Yeah.
Look what I got.
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable.
All right, next we have the winter salt contract.
I don't even wanna think about it.
It's probably not.
That one.
That's that, Cargill, yep. It's, we added a little bit more than we had from last year, because we've got some new roads starting on this year. Glen Road and
Lane.
Lane Road. Oh, all the road got striped, so everybody should be happy now.
So the only base coats we did this year were those two that you just mentioned. And that will be some
Glen
other
Road,
road.
Lane Road, yeah.
So did you guys sort of think out the percentage of that to make that come
Yeah,
out?
he did.
You
He thought it should be 15% more than what we got last year.
15%. Makes sense, I suppose.
And he just based it off mileage on, mileage that the mileage he did last year and the mileage he's gonna be adding. No, it was our top coat on the airport this year, Phil.
Yeah, I thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's been there longer than I remember.
yeah, you approved base coat on that one.
Any idea what the delivered price was last year?
No, but Deb's got the contract in her filing cabinet, so we can pull that out and check it.
I think it was maybe like 92.
That sounds, yeah,
I'm thinking maybe 91, 92 offhand.
No, 96.
So you're up 4%. Just on the, That's the only show in town.
That's what I was
that's
wondering.
who we've used since I've been sitting in this seat. And I don't know. I don't know how it got to that, but that's the only one people I've dealt with,
Is it like Cargill, like the feed company?
same company. Yeah.
So is that a thing that other ones do? Other feed companies do?
Well, some of them do, I don't think, like, well, Cargill. Maybe some of the national, like Cargill's, they're national companies. National.
You know what the total price is? You know what our total annual expense is?
No, but Deb's got it down there.
I'm just wondering, is it 10,000 or is it 50,000? And then is it worth
Yeah,
looking around to see if you can save $1 to extrapolate it out to, $5,000,
right.
or is it not worth that? Do we have enough time to do that, or do we need?
Well, I
to
don't know,
just
so
get this moving?
Nathan wanted that one on here tonight, so I'm not sure what the.
Salt's usually
Yeah, it's getting there.
I can't imagine everybody's gonna be.
Yeah, you
it's
don't,
already close. I don't remember there being anything was a Cargill.
Maybe that's what we always used before too, but I just,
That's who
can't be the only one.
no, and there's obviously
Is that Cargill's out of Canada or something out of Canada?
We got one on St.
This,
South Burlington too.
yeah, this says terminal is Shelburne.
That must be the one you're thinking. So I guess, we go with it. That's what we've always used, and, maybe.
Next year, start ahead of time.
Yeah, in our conversations with Nathan, say, just talk to your friends and try to figure out, is there. Just like, powering any other big projects, we ought to be.
yeah.
So I suppose we ought to get it coming. Just, I did a motion that.
I make a motion to approve 200 ton of road salt at $96.25 a ton, and that's a delivered price.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can somebody send me a copy of that too, and who's the vendor?
Cargill,
Cargill,
Yeah.
Cigill.
correct, yeah.
it's got an R, is there an R in there?
That needs a
CAR.
that needs a signature.
It
That's a
needs ours.
contract, yeah, that needs a signature.
Where are they from?
Cargill, oh, they're all over the place. They're national. Yeah, national company.
Who were the other vendors?
That's it.
Is this something you went over
Mhm,
earlier?
yes.
Yeah, we made you a signature pile, Dan.
Yeah, I signed the dog
Yeah,
ordinance.
the ordinance and the two policies.
Put your email on there.
Thank you.
Otherwise you'll never see it again.
Right. You got so many email addresses now, you probably don't know what to do with them. All right, it's Dave Barlow time.
That concludes my presentation. What do
Good job.
It's almost gonna be that quick, I hope. I have two treasurer reports for you. The first would be July. And just a couple points here. I updated the town investment account value history shown down at the bottom of the graph for July 1st, showing pretty good progress. There was no reserve fund spending in July, so you can see in the reserve fund category for expenses and transfers, they were all zeros. And under general fund spending, we had kind of the normal beginning of the fiscal year stuff. There were three or two that happened every fiscal year. There was an ambulance check that went out, they're all about 25,000. And our tax to the Orleans County, again, about 25,000. And there was about a $25,000 Kingdom gravel and aggregate bill that got paid as well. The rest was pretty much all normal spending. So if there aren't any questions in July, I'll move on to August. You can always come back, of course. So looking at the August treasurer's report, you can see that again, there was no reserve fund spending. So that makes it a clean brief. Under the general fund, expending was again normal for August. You've got a couple of payrolls and then the normal kind of spending. And if you ever want to look and see what we did in a particular month for spending, it's page 2 of the treasurer's report. Shows all the checks. I don't know that you have that in front of you, but the electronic version certainly has it. Shows all the checks that we wrote, you signed, would show you all the spending. And you can get pretty quick, just a quick snapshot. Okay, where did it go? It's all right there. So if there are no questions on August, I will move on to the executive budget report. Now, I wrote this as of September 20th, so just a couple days ago. It does include the checks that are in front of you tonight, the AP warrants for signature. So essentially, it's as of now. Here's where we stand in terms of budget. With 22.2% of the fiscal year complete. On the revenue side, the revenue numbers kind of depend in terms of landfill dollars on where I've logged them at the particular time. I'm showing it 50% in the general fund and nothing into the highway fund. I could arbitrarily split that anyway at all at this point of the fiscal year. my plan is the next landfill payment that comes, which will be in October. I'm gonna post that against the highway fund. But keep in mind, that's just a posting that for budget purposes, the cash is all in the same general fund account. So we're bottom line right now, we're looking fine on revenue. Doing fine, but of course, the first check has arrived from the landfill. We've got 3 more to go. Under expenses for Fund 100, the general fund, operational expenses, 27.9% is a little bit above the percentage of the fiscal year complete, but keep in mind, we prepay a lot of stuff back in July, a lot of emergency service expenses, county tax that kind of drives our initial spending in the fiscal year up and kind of inflates the percentage a little bit. And you'll see next time you see a report, probably this time next month, I expect that operational percent will be back to match pretty closely, if not a little bit behind our actual fiscal year percent. So in other words, if we're sitting at, once we get to around 30% complete, I would expect operational expenses will be somewhere right around 30%. We have not paid the town foundation yet, nor have I transferred money into the investment account, as both were approved at the town meeting. I just haven't done it yet. I'm waiting for keep the cash flow under control because we have some big checks to pay for paving and for Coventry Station road repair. Those 2 expenses will come later in the fiscal year. So any questions on the general fund?
I like the way you're doing that. I appreciate it. It's easy to understand. It's easy to see. Thank you. Walk me through that last statement again, just to refresh how we do that. So the largest thing we got being held against us right now, well, would be paving. So we don't have that bill yet.
Yeah, we do.
We do,
Nice.
actually. And the paving is reflected on here. You'll see it when we go down to the highway fund.
Oh, okay. So we can talk about that then. The Coventry Station FEMA project. Tell me the mechanics of that bill pay again.
So I haven't put that on this budget report yet. I'm still trying to come to some agreement with the auditor about how to show that as a budget item.
Yeah.
But when we start getting invoices and you approve payment, we'll start paying them. And for sure, at that point, it's going to come on here somewhere.
So, we have received a bill from Tyler, right?
Correct.
So that's the only thing that we've got expensed out so far.
No, we've done some, we've done some legal fees associated with that.
Okay.
And we've done some advertising in the newspaper associated with that. So yeah, so it's gonna be Tyler, the legal fees, the paper, and then Goodhue excavating.
Okay, so this is all reimbursable
Correct.
money, but we put the money out first.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's 75% reimbursable
Right.
unless the state steps in and ponies up some more money, but
There should be a state match on that.
Right. So, that's what you're watching for. You're trying to make sure that we've got enough cash reserves here on hand.
Yeah.
So we don't have to call.
yeah, and that you don't see that in the budget status report. You can kind of see it in the 2 previous treasurer reports.
Right.
Um,
But you're not getting squishy yet.
no, we got plenty of money. Just, I say that with the caveat, if we suddenly get another $1 million bill, I'm gonna get nervous.
Right.
Fast, but.
Well, that's what I'm saying, how's this gonna work up there? We're gonna get, all of a sudden, this work is gonna be completed up there.
No, they're gonna give us, what's gonna happen is Goodhue's gonna give us a partial bill. And we're gonna pay that, and then then we're gonna get the full bill, in which me and Tyler are gonna take the full bill, and we're gonna go through it with a fine tooth comb and make sure that we haven't been overcharged for anything, that everything matches up. And then you guys will approve, final payment after that's been done.
But that's gonna be within the next 2 months.
Yes.
So
So,
within the next 2 months, you can anticipate $1 million check. bill,
yes,
Close.
Other than paving.
And I believe they're gonna come in a little bit over budget.
so, yeah, I mean, I'll give you a quick rundown on the cash status. We've got, right now, I've got about 1.9 million in the general fund. But that's also other funds cash, but basically on cash on hand, 1.9 million, you can immediately access right now. But from that, this 856,000, whatever it is, the paving bill is gonna come out of that.
Right.
I also have another million stashed in the, well, making market interest rates. It's in the brokerage account. One's a C, there's part of it's a CD, but most 750K is in a cash mutual fund. That's retrievable on demand, basically. It would take me a few days to bring that into the bank account, but we'll have a few days warning if need be. So I'm leaving that in place right now because the 5+% we're getting on it is better than the 0.5% we're going to get from Community Bank.
And when does the funding come from, that 75%?
We don't know.
It's hard to say. If you were listening to
Yeah.
VPR this afternoon, they had a big news story on the slowness of FEMA reimbursement.
Mhm.
Is there still a chance that we may not get reimbursed, or have we been?
No, we will
Project already done.
we'll get, we've already, the funds have already been obligated. We just, the good news
Just gotta
is
wait.
they're gonna be done, and I will get everything in there the day they're done, and
That's the biggest thing, is getting the FEMA submission done,
Right.
and it gets.
So
I've been working with these same people on this for months, and they're good, so I'm not worried about it.
yeah, we're quite fortunate, as you know, to have the funding without taking out a loan. The cost to the town, though, is of course the interest that we would otherwise earn on that, say roughly 750K that we're going to get reimbursed. We're going to be out of pocket that interest for whatever period it is it takes them to reimburse us.
Yep, well, you're on it, and everything you say is, I mean, it's very well, it's better than we've done this in the past, it's easier for me to understand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And thank you, David.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
We didn't actually cover the highway fund part, but if you want to just, if you have any questions, let me know, and if you want to move on, that's fine. But it does reflect the paving. So when you look down at Fund 150 Highway Fund budget status, you'll see paving Article 6, budgeted at 600K, expended at 600K. It's 100% done. And you'll see that the actual bill was 800 something. The other 200 something odd is coming from the roads capital projects fund.
And that was a
Not capital, the roads infrastructure fund. Sorry.
structure, and that was telling me.
Mhm.
Yep.
So hopefully that truck can happen soon.
Have you heard anything on it? Just that it's backordered.
Just been backward, yeah. I mean, they say it's gonna be sometime in 2025.
Yeah.
I think Nathan talked to him pretty regularly, so
Nice.
they gave him updates.
Mhm.
All right, thanks, David.
Thank you.
All right, we've got, next up is the Orleans Ambulance Board of Directors. So any town that contracts with Orleans Ambulance gets to put a individual on their board of directors. They meet 4 times a year. This is something I'd be happy to do for the town. I mean, I do most of the work on this anyway, so
Mhm.
attending 4 meetings on behalf of Coventry would be a problem for me.
It's a quarterly.
There's someone from every town.
Someone from every town, yep, every town that contracts with Orleans for their ambulance service. So this would be a way to have somebody, I'd be at the table when they discuss policy and budgets and stuff like that, and, try to get the best response time at the cheapest amount of money for Coventry.
Does Newport do a similar?
I haven't heard no, I don't know if they got anything, they have something similar set up like that. So,
I don't know if it was the same thing, but I know Pat Sloan was on there.
I know, yeah, he was on the board.
On the Newport board,
The Newport board.
so maybe they do.
yeah,
So, well, that's interesting. Okay.
It seems like a lot of people on. No?
I think it's a representative. They try to get I mean, it makes sense to me.
Brown, me, Taylor, us.
yeah, because Glover's got their own.
All of them. All the hires for. Yeah, so it keeps going, yeah.
And they get one representative.
Yeah, so probably 5 or 6 people.
No.
So I'm good at that. You're the constant and you're
Yeah.
not a political, so
Thanks a lot, Matt.
Thank you.
keep an eye on them for us.
I will.
Keep him in line.
Now that's sort of an official appointment.
You should motion that.
Yeah. And is that a renew annually?
Question.
So just let us
I'll
know
let you know.
once you figure things out, so. All right, so we'll need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to appoint Matt as the representative for Coventry for the board of directors for the Orleans Ambulance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
So
Thanks, Matt.
before we
Thanks,
move
Gary.
on, I bet you're on to something, Phil, with the Newport.
Mhm.
Potentially it was Mr. Sloan.
Yep.
So can you reach out
Check
to
the
them
report, yep,
and find out what they do?
okay,
And if it's a representative from each town or whatever.
Okay.
And if it's not, then, you'll learn something, but,
yep,
in that same breath, maybe you could talk to them and ask them what they're thinking about the preliminary budget numbers.
okay,
Memory serves me, we always get that just toward the end of the year
I think both of them come around budget season.
for the contract. And,
All
think it would be wise of us all to know those numbers before we get drama.
Hey, Scott,
Do,
when Pat was getting ready to come off, well, not come off from the board, but when he ended up getting sick, he did actually approach me to see if I wanted to get onto the Newport Ambulance Board. And I did go through and talk with the director. So I am actually on that board now. And Pat Spot has a treasurer for Newport Ambulance.
okay, so they don't ask the select boards to appoint those?
Nope. It's like you said, it's a town representative.
So they do the selection fee.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's new information. When were you gonna tell us this?
I'm just new getting into it. I've only had one meeting.
So I heard two things there. You're a director
On their board, yes,
and the treasurer?
yes.
Oh. Call her and ask her what I know.
So I can tell you at my very first meeting, we just barely had like 2 weeks ago, we started working on the budgets. So that has already been in place.
So do you have a recommendation for how we should begin that conversation? Ms. Director?
Pick what conversation? Because I was sort of going back and forth. My laptop's getting ready to die, so I had to go get my charger. So I don't know if I heard all of your conversation.
Well, simply what we were talking about is making that first reach out to figure out the director thing. You've answered that. The second piece was try to figure out a ballpark figure they're thinking about. I know last year, I think we're paying just under 50 maybe per capita. I think we're at 48 or 49. And I think we need to have that conversation here sooner than later, so we don't get surprised and we can just flush that out. You know, now that we have two services splitting the town, I have a feeling those numbers are getting further apart, not closer together on the expense. And
I
I'd like-
do believe if not November, then I think December, you should be seeing Charlie and Jeff come to a select board meeting with the budget. That way you'll have it in line for when the town is putting together their budget before town meeting.
So my instinct is to try to get ahead of that, so we don't have to say no to them in December.
Yeah,
They wouldn't like that. And so I think rather than, because we have to get that done in December for
Yep.
them and for Newport. And it's always very hard right at the last tail end to try to say, you know, yes or no to these things. We have more things to think about now. You know, we positioned ourselves fairly well in order to be able to think about those things. And so I think that Orleans is looking at around $35 per capita. And so if Newport's thinking over 50, I think we have a big conversation to have. And that's probably going to be better had over a couple of months rather than a week or two in December when we have to make that decision and potentially significantly impact Newport's budget at the last minute.
so are you looking for what, October, November? You want the first initial discussion?
Well, it's up to them. I mean, I'm trying to help them.
Okay,
I'm trying to say, you know, at those numbers, it's a real honest conversation that we've got to have. That's serious money.
oh no, absolutely, but you also got to think about like the initial response of why you did end up doing the split as far as being the response time for
100%,
people, individuals, yeah.
100%.
Okay. Nope, if you want, I can go ahead and I can put that message out to them that you would like to end up seeing them sooner than later. And to coordinate with Matt to set up for a time for the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have
Okay.
to be, it doesn't have to be here in this forum. You know, we have a town administrator, pick up the phone and talk to Matt.
Okay,
Pick up the phone and talk to any one of us, anytime that they
Right.
want to, but I would be requesting those conversations. So that we at least have an instinct on what's coming there.
right, yep,
Yeah. All right. Cool. Thank you, Matt. You don't have to do that anymore.
Thanks, Deb.
you're welcome.
Any other business tonight? All right. You got some minutes there?
Look at that.
Did you get all your signature stuff?
I did, gave him the match.
I think the minutes look good. What do you want? Rich?
No.
Oh,
That's, you wrote,
I read them.
we're good. Good now.
Everything looks good.
It just reminds me that I was gonna say it earlier, man. I apologize, under some other thing, but Coventry Fire District business.
Mhm.
I did just want to mention, and say thank you to everybody who's been involved in it. I know I may have played a little rough a couple times, my nature. I think the outcome is very good. Carrie participated in our first meeting sometime last week. And I think we got through a lot of stuff. I learned a lot.
Yeah, it went well. It went really well.
So it was successful and we've got a date for their annual meeting. I'm just sort of, and we've got our own schedule to meet from now till then, every couple of weeks. We've got a good agenda, not just starting to be built, but what we want to accomplish, which isn't a whole lot other than, sit down and talk and communicate and pay bill pay and educate and do those things. And I think it went very well.
Mhm.
So I appreciate Dom, I appreciate Deb. Who else was there? Pedro did a good job educating us on some things. So just for everybody to know that watches this, I think that process has gone well. So now we'll see what happens and we'll figure it out with whatever their annual meeting brings to us. So thank you for stepping up on that. Now, I'm good to those if you guys are.
Mhm.
I'm good. Make a motion to. Everybody's good, right?
Yep.
Make a motion to accept the minutes, select board meeting, town of Coventry, Monday, September 9th, 2024 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, warrants are there also. Deb put the paving warrant on a separate one because I recommend you don't approve it because they haven't finished the work on River Road yet.
Oh, yep.
They are well aware that they're not getting that check until they do it, so.
You're playing hardball?
And they were told I told them on the phone, Nathan's told them
He's back.
several times,
He's the back guy this time.
so.
So have you talked to him? What's the deal?
I talked to him on the phone and he said, he asked me when we're getting paid and I said, as soon as you fix the River Road, the transition between the River Road and the Webster Road, and Nathan said there's some shoulder work they haven't finished down there either,
Oh, yeah,
so.
on the river road?
Yep.
Shoulder work with the gravel, you mean?
Yeah, said they shouldered one side but not the other, so.
Right.
Till
I
that's,
didn't even notice that. Did you?
till that's done. that-
So that little lip, that's the transition you're talking about?
Yep,
Yeah, I was wondering how they're gonna plow that. I mean, that's.
Yeah, that's. That doesn't work.
Okay, so that's a separate warrant then.
that's a separate warrant.
Pull that out of there.
I would, I mean,
You got that motion, or not.
Yeah, but pull it out for now. Deal with it by itself.
Except
like, checks there, and as soon as they're done, we can get it approved and get it signed, get out, sign the check.
So you need to keep that. I mean, I know you are,
Well, yeah, I mean,
because they're gonna call hollering.
Not getting paid is
Right.
gonna be a problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they watch it. We.
And Nathan's been talking to his partner there too.
Yep, been talking to Norm Jr.
Dog owners and no parking dogs. That dog owners and no parking dogs. I'm going. You could parking for a half hour.
So on that one, it looks like there's some people that had like a exercise class or something, and the town will pay for that.
Yes,
25%.
25%.
So what do? Just bring you the bill?
Yeah, you bring the bill or to your deb. She'll.
Bring your receipt.
Curiosity. Any gym or
Mhm.
Yeah, and gym membership, yeah. Is there a list, Deb, or is it?
It has to be a bona fide gym, so it can't be like somebody's house, but like Kingdom Racquetball and Fitness would be a bona fide gym. I know
Well, the
Jason
wellness
Griffith,
center, right? Yeah.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
the
work,
Wellness Center, yeah.
I
The
feel,
old Pride Fitness, which is now turned over to, I think, Vermont Vitality or something like that.
Yeah, there's a
And
new.
Jason Griffith just established a new one up at the Price Chopper Mall.
Deb, are any of these checks not supposed to be mailed tomorrow, or can I mail them all?
No, if you want to mail them all, that's perfectly fine. Or if you want to leave them, I'll do them on Thursday.
All right,
That way some of the coupons and whatnot will get put in with the checks.
gotcha.
Looked at it. Okay.
yeah, I looked at it. Boy. That's a big one.
Mhm.
So is that right on the target of our quote,
A little
the
under,
contract?
Oh, it's under,
It's
Okay.
under,
under.
really?
Yep, by $3,000.
hmm,
A few like 3, or a few like 20.
The tonnage that needs to be finished.
I don't know, I wrote.
I was gonna say, they still haven't finished.
The tonnage on the- I
Yep,
can't remember what the exact amount, I don't think it's 20, Scott. But it was less than what they.
Why is 860 in my brain? From way back.
I think that's what it was.
oops, it's the wrong one.
You, Chris?
Yeah.
Bye, Chris.
I got a question on that. Is she still here?
Deb? Yep.
Deb, what happens if, well, I guess we can't do that. I was gonna say, can we sign the warrant but hold the check? Can't do
You
that.
absolutely can do that if you want, or what we'll just do is when you guys are ready to actually sign that check, then I just produce a brand new warrant. You just do not sign that warrant. That goes back into that red folder right there. That stays in my desk until you guys say, okay, present that back. Then I establish another brand new warrant to go with that check. Either way. At least this way, you know, if you probably establish a new warrant, then you know the check went out at that same time as a new warrant versus you signing that warrant today that's dated 9/19. And then you don't mail that check out until October 25th. And then you're like, hey, Deb, how come it took a whole month for this check to be mailed out?
How
But
much
it's
in there?
really basically your preference.
7.
7.
Oh. You're right. I mean, we're not paying it. I mean, we shouldn't pay it till the work is complete. We have a September 15th, I think. Deadline. It is an interesting twist if they've come in under. I don't know if we've ever had that happen with anybody. I mean, that's pretty good faith on their end of things. So it's almost like, that's why I asked, you know, should we sign this and then if he does it tomorrow, you can send us a check and he doesn't have to wait 2 weeks.
Right. That's good.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But
And you
at
can-
least
And then we've
we've
not
got it in
getting
the
it.
barrel
Right.
ready to say to him, look,
I have a feeling somebody will be driving this office to pick that check up the minute I tell them it's sitting here signed.
And you can tell them it's ready, it's
Right.
approved, pending the work getting
so you
done.
don't want that to happen.
I don't care. Yeah, I mean, that's fine with me. If you sign that, then I'll just say, hey, fix that and I'll sign your check. I'm good.
And then it wouldn't stall it.
Right. No,
for
I'm
2
not trying
weeks.
to-
We're not trying to do
We're
that,
not
to them,
trying
but
to
it is
say
a
that.
contract.
Yeah,
And you can't give that amount of money and let them
right,
potentially not deal with it.
right. I mean,
In a
it's-
timely
it's-
fashion.
That will mess up our plows. It will mess up.
It will mess up our
Mess up
plows
our-
and the
mess
road,
up the road. Yeah.
and the road, especially if there's shoulder work done too, not done too.
Right, or even Nathan, there's some shoulder work that's going to.
Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean,
They're
is
not
that-
gonna, they're not gonna fix that
Right.
and then give us another bill to make, to come up with a quote.
I
To,
don't think so.
that's
Should
what
be
I
all-
was
should be
thinking,
all
why,
right.
if we did it this way, then
Bill.
they couldn't,
Yeah,
$7,000.
Should have been,
That's an
in the-
interesting point.
Should be
And
in.
they don't have that part in the bill yet, right?
Yeah,
It
that's what I'm
doesn't
thinking.
really- It wouldn't tell
But you
you.
wouldn't know.
They just have tonnage and it's gonna take more.
Yeah.
They're not gonna,
That could be your $7,000. No, let's leave it alone. That's a good point,
what,
because
if
then
they
we-
send us another bill, they send us another bill. I was thinking if that was, if we just,
then you're saying it's paid in full.
yeah,
This is how much you're gonna get, but I mean, and now we are past the contract deadline of the 15th. So I think we better just. I mean, I was trying to be nice and think about how do you do it, you know, they're under that, but there is that potential that they know they haven't finished that job. I don't know. I think we better read it. We don't have enough
See what
here
happens.
to talk about yet. So do you need the motion at 2 different ways?
Yes, please.
So we want a motion to accept these withhold. Payment on that,
Okay.
all in the same motion.
Mhm.
make a motion to accept all the warrants. Do I need to name all these?
No,
Except the J. Hutchins Incorporated.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
You're good.
I just don't know how else better to do that. I mean, it is business and it's a lot of money.
Good, we can be adjourned.
I just have one quick question.
All right, Deb.
Does any of you three plan on being at the community center on Thursday when CISA comes to do that safe assessment?
I was thinking I'm off that day.
Okay,
I
Ryan
can-
will be there at 10 a.m. to go through to do the assessment of the whole entire building.
Who is it that's doing it?
Ryan Herc, something like that, but it's CISA. It's the federal government.
Okay.
So
Will he give us a report out?
he will end up giving us a report as far as what he's going to state, what he thinks is negatives that we should be fixing to help make the town office safer for elections, but also just in daily business as well.
Okay, sounds good to me.
And it's not till next week, right?
You'll be here.
No,
man.
it's this coming Thursday.
Oh, yep, okay. No, at 10 o'clock, that one I won't make. I was thinking it was next week.
Tag.
Yeah, no, this week.
I'll be there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, did we adjourn?
No, not yet.
Because I interrupted you.
Oh, yeah.
Again,
Motion to adjourn?
second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Bye.